Alright, what's up, what's good y'all? Soul here and welcome back to my story mode. So obviously you've probably seen the title and you're like, how could you possibly know what to expect? Well, I know the game's far from around the corner. However, based on the fact that it's a Pokemon game and we know their general patterns, I have a general idea of what to probably expect going into these new games. Before we get started though, I want to remind you guys that these are all just ideas and opinions, so you don't have to take everything that I say too close to heart. At the end of the day, this is all just speculation. Speculation that I could be very wrong about. And hell, if I am wrong on some of these things, cool, awesome, that just makes for a better experience, but you'll find out what I'm talking about in a minute. Alright, so with all that cleared up, keeping everything in mind, let's talk about a couple of things that I expect from Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. My first thing is, I don't really expect a lot of the mechanics that we learned in Legends to actually come back for this game. I do have a video in the works talking about some of the mechanics that I would like to see return from Pokemon Legends, but we'll save that for then. For now, I want to talk about some of the mechanics that I really don't expect to return or that I would be shocked if they did make a return. As an example, I don't really see the big bad boss fights coming back. The whole frenzied Pokemon situation is not going to be a thing anymore because that was a very specific plot point for Pokemon Legends Arceus. I'm bringing this up now because I actually really love that whole boss fight mechanic where you actually had to go toe to toe with the Pokemon yourself and it turned into somewhat of an action game. I also think that it's worth mentioning because I have a gut feeling that they have something that's going to replace that. It won't exactly be like how it was with the whole dodging and bombing the Pokemon, but we will probably have something. Although that is a pretty big plate to fill. I really enjoyed those boss fights and I have no idea how they would replace something like that if they decide to replace it at all, but we'll see how things play out. Another mechanic that I don't expect to come back is the crafting mechanic. Now don't get me wrong, I would love to see the crafting mechanic make a comeback, especially because it was so helpful. Traversing the entirety of the world and collecting materials to build your own Pokeballs and potions, or just selling off the extra material that you don't need was a beautiful thing. In Pokemon Legends, it made so much sense as to why that was a mechanic at all. In the world of the past, most people were afraid or terrified of Pokemon, meaning that there was only a very good handful of people that used Pokeballs and stuff like that. Of course, it did make sense that you could buy it in the shop because that shop is based in Jubilife Village, where you are staying around as a Galaxy team member. You were the star of the Galaxy team. Nobody else was riding around catching Pokemon and creating Pokeballs and potions like you were because nobody had a team like that. While the rest of the team was catching 3 to 4 Pokemon or something like that, you were catching them by the dozens for hours on end. So it would be a lot cheaper for the player to just craft their own material, and that made so much sense. However, we are now in a modern era where Pokemon trainers are a common thing. We are now back in the era where Pokemon trainers need material like this in abundance, and the higher up companies like to capitalize on that. Because this is a mainline sport, they most likely mined out a lot of the materials necessary to build plenty of Pokeballs in abundance so that they could sell it to trainers. They wouldn't really like it if trainers were able to just go out and craft their own Pokeballs. That would be kind of a killer for their business, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so it's very possible that I thought just a little too logically about this one, but it makes sense, right? In a modern era where Pokemon battling is a mainline sport where they make money, why would these big-ass companies allow it so that trainers could just make their own stuff? Wow, they capitalized on that a long time ago. We know that because we've never had a crafting mechanic in a Pokemon game before. So to clarify, I love the crafting mechanic and it would be awesome if it came back, but logically speaking, it wouldn't make a lot of sense for it to come back because we have another way to make money now through Pokemon battling other trainers, and we could just buy plenty of Pokeballs as we need, just like we always have been. But hey, maybe that's just me. Maybe the crafting mechanic will come back in full force and maybe I'll be crapping myself over it. That's a weird way to say that I'd be excited about it. But either way, you get what I'm getting at. Moving on. My next thing is, I kinda doubt that the Pokedex mechanic is gonna return the same way. Again, this may just be me overthinking things too logically again, but hear me out. Unless they decide to just go ahead and completely retcon how Pokedexes have worked this entire time, I highly doubt that we're gonna need to see the Pokemon in that much action just to fill out a Pokedex entry. It worked perfectly that way for Legends because we didn't have high-tech technology back then. We literally wrote down everything about these Pokemon in a journal. The earliest version of a Pokedex was simply a journal. That is so awesome. I love that. But now we're returning to modern era where Pokeballs capture literally every ounce of information about that Pokemon as possible. Also, since we're coming back to a modern era and we have Pokemon trainers and gyms and things like that again, and we're going to be focusing a lot more on battling, I'm sure that they're not going to divert our attention nearly as much because they probably feel like they won't need to. But again, keep in mind, this is just me overanalyzing things a lot. I would love for the mechanic to come back, and it is very possible for it to come back as a mechanic. I just think that logically, it wouldn't really fit, you know? But whatever, we'll play it by ear. Maybe these new Pokemon are so new that the current Pokedexes still can't get all of the information without seeing a little bit of these Pokemon in action. So, we'll see how things play out. Moving along, the next big thing that I expect from these games is that we're probably gonna have a very mediocre story. What I'm about to say next is probably gonna be a tidbit of a spoiler for my review, but to be fair, I didn't expect us to get Generation 9 this soon. So, whatever the case may be, I'm still gonna say it. Given the track record, I really don't think that they've had enough time to actually write a cohesive story for these upcoming games. I really don't believe so. Even though we've confirmed Pokemon Legends to essentially be like a beta of sorts, the story there was really mid, and frankly, I just have a gut feeling that what happened with Legends is kinda gonna transfer over here too. It's very clear to me now more than ever that they had to have two different teams working on Legends and Generation 9. However, that just means that they had two separate teams working with a brand new engine. Which means that, kind of like Legends, I kind of expect the story to struggle a little bit here because they were mainly focused on building the new region, probably creating the newer Pokemon, and overall just setting up this new world for us to play with. Game Freak usually does have the magic touch. They do. They know how to make the games playable, they know how to make the games very fun, they know how to get us invested. However, when it comes to the story, they have always struggled a little bit when it came to the Pokemon games. Very rarely has Pokemon games ever had a crazy in-depth story with character development, arcs, and things like that. That just doesn't happen with Pokemon. And given the fact that I am positive with every fiber of my being that they had a limited time to get to work on these new generation of games, I just really don't think that they had enough time to put as much as they probably would have wanted to into the story. And, you know, I'm not even really all that mad about it. Like I said, we've never had a Pokemon game that went that crazy besides maybe Generation 5. So I expect something along the okay levels, but nothing that's gonna make me explode in the brain, you know what I'm saying? But hey, maybe I could be super wrong. Maybe they've written this crazy in-depth story that shows off a lot of these new characters that we're gonna meet in a very awesome way. I hope I'm wrong, I really do. But for the time being, until we get more information, I'm gonna go ahead and stick to my epiphany that the story's not gonna go all that crazy. But hey, I don't think that's gonna be that much of an issue. As long as the game in of itself is fun, I'll live. Legends is a prime example. Now the final thing that I want to talk about for this video is the return of the gym system. For the most part, since we're coming back to a modern era, I would be shocked if we didn't have a return to form. The whole 8 gym leaders, some kind of champion that we have to dethrone, the whole shebang. Keep in mind, we did already see that big ass building with a ginormous Pokeball jammed into the middle of the top there, so if that's not some kind of gym or something important, I must be crazy. However though, and I may kick myself in the ass for this later, but I am kind of expecting something really new with this. Thinking back, they were already starting to change things up just a little bit when it came to Pokemon Sword and Shield's gym leader situation. And then in Pokemon Legends, we didn't have anything like that at all, and that's a mainline game. So with this here, with a mixture of the tournament system and the ranking system, we may be in for a lot of new treats. And that's probably the thing that excites me the most. However, I don't want to get my hopes too high because I usually end up disappointed. And usually when I keep my expectations low, I tend to enjoy myself. So that is the one little expectation that I am gonna say. I do have hopes and wishes that I'm gonna talk about very soon, but that is the one big thing that I would really like to see if they actually change. I think they are working on something really crazy with that, but we'll see what happens when it happens. So that just about does it for all of my expectations going into Pokemon Scarlet and Violet so far. Now to reiterate, this is not me being petty about anything. No matter what they decide to bring to these new games, I'm looking forward to whatever they have to show off. I just don't really expect a good chunk of these things, and I do expect little tidbits here and there based on what we do know about the games. Within the next couple of months, I'm sure we'll make something along the lines of a part 2 for this, because they will definitely show off something before E3, during E3, or after E3. I don't know, but we'll see how things play out. So obviously, I think that I've rambled on long enough. I'm tossing the mic over in your guys' direction, and I want you guys to tell me all of your expectations when it comes to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Do you think I'm in the wrong? Do you think I'm on the right path? Do you guys have any expectations on your own? Let me know everything in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I am always down there with you guys. But with that, it do be skedaddle o'clock. I would like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor for dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. And with that, I'm outro. Thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor, taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!